Hey guys, I'm going to show you how to make a cardboard picture frame, and how you decorate it is up to you. I have a couple different art videos that show you different things that you can do, and they can be made into this, but this is just showing you how to cut out the pieces and get it together, and then you get to decide how you want to decorate it. So first of all, you're going to need some cardboard. You want it to be fairly thin. Remember, the thicker your cardboard is, the harder it's going to be to cut out. So what I have today is just like a Swiffer wet jet box. Okay, and if you don't have a ruler, okay, I'm going to measure these and they will be my basis for that. But if you don't have a ruler, it's okay. You can use your photograph to help you just kind of gauge how long to make it. So let me get a piece of paper here. Okay, so the first piece is going to be 7.5 inches. You're not going to be able to see that in pencil. By 6 inches. And then it will need a cutout. That's 4.5 by 3 inches. And the reason for our size, right? We want the outside piece to be a little bit bigger than our picture. This is a picture that I took with the boys. They made a picture frame for their dad for Father's Day, and this is just a silly picture that we had to put in it. It's at the park in Oskaloosa. So you just want to be sure that you have space on both the top and the bottom. So if you're just eyeballing this, that's your goal. Like, just make sure that you have maybe like a digit space above and below and outside both sides. And then the inside space, I just made it like, I just made the outside the width of my ruler, right? So the width, and you need this space to be big enough to fit the main part of your picture, but your picture needs to overlap that space. Right? I don't want it to be exactly the same size. It has to be bigger or it's going to fall through your hole. Okay, so I actually, depending what you do, you'll either need 1 or 2 of these, okay? If I'm doing this picture that I did with the rolled paper, if you're just going to decorate the front of it, you only need 1. If you're going to do something like this, where I was wrapping string around it, okay, if you do where you're wrapping the string across the whole thing, you'll want 2. If you're just gluing the string to the front, then you only need 1. So in most cases, you will only need 1, but if you're doing something where what you do to the front of the frame goes across the back, okay, if it goes to the back side of that, you'll need this to glue in there to separate from the picture itself. So generally you just need 1. You just have to think about what you're going to do to the outside of the picture frame. Okay, but in some cases you might want 2. Okay, the next piece is just a rectangle, and this is actually where you're, okay, so let me see if I can kind of show you here. Okay, it's this piece right here, and this just serves as the back of the picture frame. It's where I slide the picture into. Okay, to put it in there, it's where you slide it in. So this piece also has to be bigger then the picture. Okay, and this, it's not as big as the first frame, right? I want it to be smaller than my first frame, so it's smaller than my first frame, bigger than my picture, bigger than my photograph. Okay, so that it can form that pocket. So if you have a ruler, we want 6.5. I'll draw a little picture here. 6.5 by 5. It might also be worth pointing out that I'm just using a 4 by 6. 4 by 6? Yeah, a 4 by 6 picture. It will also fit a 3.5 by 4. Not very many people print these out anymore, so you probably don't have a 3 by 4.5 inch picture. 3.5 by 4 3/4. I bet I cut this picture down. I bet this was originally a 4. I think it was a 3.5 by 4. Anyway, it'll fit a little bit different sized pictures. So that is a-okay. Oh, here, this has 2 pieces. Oh, that's out of focus. This one has 2 of the front pieces and then the 1 solid back piece. So this one is an example where they used 2 that had the hole in it. Okay. And then the last piece is this is going to be our stand. And so it's like this one is just, it's just a piece to lean against. I didn't do anything fancy. If you want to attempt to make one that folds like this, you are welcome to. The problem is this piece here can wear out if you're not careful. With this one, they wrapped it in phone book. And so the cardboard is in this piece and this piece. There's no cardboard here, it's just the paper. So if that's something that you want to do, that's kind of how it's set up. And then there's no cardboard in this. This is just the paper. They just folded a strip, glued it down, and folded it. This also has like a Mod Podge over it. It's not, there's a coating on it. It's not just solid paper. So that's something to think about. I'm not going over how to do that. Like I said, this is the one that I'm showing how to do. So for this, we just need the solid piece of cardboard. And again, the size on this doesn't matter. If you don't have a ruler, it's not a big deal. I just made it thick enough that it can hold the weight. And if you do have a ruler, looks like 4.5 by 3 inches. Okay, so let's cut those out. It's always smart to use an edge if you can. Use an edge as an edge. That way you know that your lines will be straight. This cardboard isn't quite long enough, but I think I can make it work. Oh, wait. Sweet. One of my sides is long enough and the other side isn't, so I will use that. So I have my stand, I have my backing. I cut out 2 2 of these. Again, depending on what you're doing, you might not need to. But when we cut out the inside, okay, this is where it gets a little trickier. So we want to be sure that this sits in the middle. Okay, so you want it to be even on both sides. So if we gotta do a little math. Okay, so if we have 6 inches from the top, okay, and this is 3 inches in the middle, we need to divide that remainder, right? There's 3 inches between here and here. We're gonna divide that by 2. We need 1.5 inches on top and 1.5 inches on the bottom. Okay, and I'll mark more of those in a little bit. And then we need to do the same thing with this. So we want it to be in the middle. 7.5 minus 4.5 is 2 inches. We need to divide that by our 2 sides. So we will have 1 inch on both sides. Huh. How many of you saw this and were like, that's not the right number, Mrs. Nichols? 7 minus 4 is 3, which means we have 1.5 inches. So it should be 1.5 inches on all the sides. All right, so the next advice that I have for you is do that more than once. We want at least 2 points so that we can make a straight line in between those 2 points. And if you don't have a ruler, again, do your best to measure them evenly and then just find something that has a straight edge. Okay, it could be, another piece of your cardboard. You could line it up there. Okay, just something that has a straight edge so that this part of your picture frame is straight. Okay, there we go. Yeah, now it's an even 1.5 inches all the way around. Okay, so now that actually I'm gonna just put a little X on those so I know not to cut those out. Now we get to the part where we have to cut out the inside. You could, if you really have to, you could bend-ish this in half to get some scissors in there, but you really don't want to bend this paper or it will mess with the stability of your picture frame. So if you have sharp scissors where you could poke a hole through it and then just kind of cut along it, or if you don't have sharp scissors, but maybe you could ask mom or dad to just punch a hole with a knife real quick and then you can cut your space. You guys are middle schoolers, so I don't know what you typically are allowed to use at home. If you're allowed to do that, go for it. But if you are unsure or have not done so, be sure you're asking your parents that it's okay that you're, using knives and stuff. I typically use an X-Acto knife. Now, the trick with the X-Acto knife is, if you're not careful, it's not going to cut a straight line. You'll go all over the place. But also, you have to have something underneath so that you're not scratching the table. Okay, same if you're poking a hole with a knife or whatever. Like, don't scratch up your table. Okay, put something down. This one little sort of piece of cardboard is not going to be enough. I'll put a couple pieces of my extra cardboard. Now that I have all my pieces, it's time to decorate.